I'm Mr. Pip. What's your business?
My business? Ah, yes, I'll explain my business by your leave.
Do you wish to come in?
Yes, I wish to come in, master.
Now perhaps you will explain your visit.
It's disappointing to a man after having looked forward so distant and come so far. Oh, but you're not to blame for that.
What do you mean?
I'll speak in half a minute. Give me half a minute, please. There's no one nigh, is there?
Why do you ask that question?
You're a gayman. I'm glad you growed up a gayman.
Now I know who you are. The churchyard. The churchyard on the marshes. You're the convict I gave the food to.
You acted nobly, my boy. Noble, Pip, and I've never forgot it.
If you're grateful to me for what I did when I was a child, and you've come to thank me for it, there's no need. However, since you've found me out, will you drink something before you go?
Yes, I will drink, I thank you, before I go.
I hope you won't think that I spoke harshly to you just now. I had no intention of doing it, and I'm very sorry for it if I did. I wish you well and happy. How have you been living?
I've been a sheep farmer, away in the New World, in New South Wales.
I hope you've done well.
I've done wonderful well. I'm famous for it.
Oh, I'm very glad to hear it.
I hope to hear you say so, dear boy. But you've done well too, eh?
Yes, I've done quite well.
May I make so bold as to ask how you've done well since you and me was out in those lone, shivering marshes?
How?
Ah.
Yes, I've been chosen to succeed to some property.
Might I be a varmint ask what property?
I don't know.
Might I be a varmint ask whose property?
I don't know.
Could I make a guess, I wonder, at your income since you come of age? As to the first figure now. 5? Concerning a guardian. There ought to be a guardian or such like when you were a minor. Some lawyer, maybe. As to the first letter of that lawyer's name now, would it be J? As the employer of that lawyer whose name began with J and might be Jaggers, I wrote from Portsmouth to a person in London for particulars of your address. That person's name? Why, Wemmick. Yes, Pip, dear boy, I made a gentleman of you. It was me what done it. I swore that time that as sure as I earned a guinea, that guinea would go to you. And that there hunted dog what you kept life in got his head so high that he made a gentleman. And Pip, you're him. Why, I'm your second father, Pip, and you're my son. And how good looking you've growed. Ah, there's a pair of bright eyes somewhere, eh? Isn't there a pair of bright eyes what you love the thoughts of? They shall be yourn, dear boy, if money can buy 'em. But didn't you never think it might be me?
No, never.
Well, you see, it was me. And single-handed. Never a soul in it but me own self and Mr. Jaggers.
Was there no one else?
No, who else should there be? Well, where are you going to put me, dear boy?
Put?
Oh, to sleep. Who's that?
Don't be alarmed. It's Mr. Pocket, who shares these rooms with me.
Phew. What a night.
Hello. Herbert, something very strange has happened. This is a visitor of mine.
Take it in your right hand. Say, strike me dead on the spot if I split in any way, whatever.
Strike me dead on the spot if I split in any way, whatever.
Kiss it.
Do as he says, Herbert.
Now, you're an oath.
Come in. You can go now, Molly. Now, Pip, be careful.
I will, sir.
Don't commit yourself. Don't commit anyone. You understand me? Anyone.
Mr. Jaggers,
Don't tell me anything. I don't want to know anything. I'm not curious.
I merely want to assure myself that what I've been told is true.
Did you say told or informed? Told would seem to imply verbal communication. You can't have verbal communication with a man in New South Wales, you know.
I will say informed, sir.
Good.
I've been informed by a person named Abel Magwitch that he is the benefactor so long unknown to me.
That is the man in New South Wales.
And only he.
And only he.
I'm not so unreasonable, sir, as to hold you at all responsible for my mistakes and wrong conclusions. But I always supposed that it was Miss Havisham.
As you say, Pip, I am not at all responsible for that.
Yet it looked so like it, sir.
Not a particle of evidence, Pip. Take nothing on its looks, take everything on evidence. There is no better rule.
Well, I've nothing more to say.
I think you should know that I communicated with Abel Magwitch in New South Wales and reminded him that if ever he should present himself in this country, it would be an act of felony, rendering himself liable to the extreme penalty of the law. Take a look out of that window, Pip. That sort of thing happens every day. Magwitch has enemies here who would not hesitate to inform on him.
I see.
But he has guided himself by my caution, no doubt.
No doubt. If you'll excuse me, sir. There's no other alternative. He must be got out of the country, and I shall have to go with him.
Why must you go with him?
He's risked everything on my account. I can do no less than stand by him now.
What will you say to Estella?
I'm at a loss to know what to say to her. She'd never understand about him. But I must see her before I go.
Ah, just come down?
Yes.
Beastly place, your part of the country, I think. I'm going out for a ride in the saddle. I mean to explore those marshes for amusement. Out-of-the-way villages there, they tell me. Curious little public houses and smithies and that.
Mr. Drommel, I didn't seek this conversation. I don't find it a very agreeable one.
I'm sure you don't. But don't lose your temper. Haven't you lost enough without that?
What do you mean?
Look here, you, sir. The lady is joining me later, so take her horse round to her house in an hour's time.
Very good, sir.
And don't forget to tell the waiter I don't dine, because I'm going to dine with the lady.
Aye, aye.
Come in.
What wind blows you here, Pip?
I went to Richmond yesterday to speak to Estella, Miss Havisham, and finding that some wind had blown her here, I followed. What I have to say to Estella, I will say before you presently in a few moments. It will not surprise you. It will not displease you. I'm as unhappy as you could ever have meant me to be. I have found out who my patron is. It isn't a fortunate discovery, and is not likely ever to enrich me in reputation, station, fortune, anything. But there are reasons why I can say no more of that. It is not my secret, but another's.
It is not your secret, but another's. Well?
When you first caused me to be brought here, Miss Havisham, I suppose I really did come here as any other chance boy might have come, as a kind of servant, to gratify a want or a whim and to be paid for it.
Aye, Pip, you did.
And that Mr. Jaggers was...
Mr. Jaggers had nothing to do with it. His being my lawyer and the lawyer of your patron was a coincidence. He holds the same relation towards numbers of people.
But when I fell into the mistake that I've so long remained in, at least you led me on.
Yes. I let you go on.
Was that kind?
Who am I? For heaven's sake, that I should be kind. Well, what else?
Estella, I should have said this sooner, but for my long mistake, which led me to believe that Miss Havisham meant us for one another. And I felt that I couldn't tell you of my real feelings while you were not free to choose for yourself. But now I have to go away. And I must say it before I go. I love you, Estella. I've loved you ever since I first saw you in this house.
Pip, I tried to warn you not to love me. But you wouldn't be warned, for you thought I didn't mean it.
Isn't it true that Bentley Drummel is in town here and pursuing you?
Quite true.
That you encourage him and ride out with him? And that he dines with you this very day?
Quite true.
How can you fling yourself at such a man?
Should I rather fling myself at you, Pip, who would sense at once that I bring nothing to you?
But you cannot love him, Estella.
What have I always told you? Do you still think, in spite of it, that I don't mean what I say?
Estella, you would never marry him.
Why not tell you the truth? I am going to be married to him.